there is no universal clock for this stuff. There's no universal clock to stop feeling. There's no universal clock to start or stop healing, right? There's no deadline. You know what healing is? It's a devotion. I'm devoting myself to getting where I have to go. Why? Because I don't want to be stuck in this condition forever. So take yourself off the clock. And God knows, take yourself off other people's clock, because their clock is always going to be probably based on them and how they feel. And that's so unfair to someone to want somebody healed based on how they're feeling. So take yourself off somebody else's clock, right? This is what happens. People who rush their process don't understand the depth. You don't understand the depth of your wounds. When you see people rush their process, they don't understand the depths of the wounds. They don't. It's like when you go to the doctor and they say, "Hey, take this penicillin or something, whatever they say, take this over 7 days," and most people feel better after 2 days, and it's like, "Oh, I'm good." You're not good. You got to heal through. That might be a whole nother podcast. You got to heal through situations, not just heal from. Sometimes you got to heal through because of how deep that wound might be in your life, right? So don't shrink to even meet your own expectations. And God knows, again, don't shrink to meet somebody else's. Don't do that, man. You owe yourself more than that, sis. I'm telling you how valuable you are. And I'm not going to get off of this. Like, I need you to really know how valuable you are. And the value in you means don't rush. Don't rush, because you got years to go on. You got years to love again. You got years. You got years. And guess what? Because of those years you have, you ought to be going into those years as your best self, right? This is another big thing I really need to put on this video today. You can't heal what you refuse to grieve. You can't heal what you refuse to grieve, right? You cannot heal what you refuse to grieve. Listen, grieving isn't just about death. Sometimes we hear that word grief and it just becomes about death. No, it's not just about death. Grief is for anything you lose, right? What happens is the version of you that believed in a certain person and the things didn't work out. And that's grief. It don't make them bad. It don't make you bad, but you believed in a certain situation. The dreams that die in a broken relationship, right? The innocence or the trust or the time that you gave in, and you lost it. You got to mourn all of that. It's not just about death. And that's one of the tricks. Okay. Somebody dies, we got to grieve. Anything you lose, there's a grieving process. Anything you lose that meant something to you, there's a definite grieving process that you have to go through with that. You have to know that. You have to be okay with that. And yes, grieving is messy. It ain't nothing nice, right? It's that ugly, crazy cry at 2, 3 in the morning. You pop up out your sleep and you going through it, right? It's having to admit, I'm still broken by this, right? But what you can't do is ignore. You can't ignore grief. It doesn't make it go away because you ignore it. You know what it does? It buries it deeper in your soul somewhere, where now the search has to go longer and harder to find that place. When something's on that surface and you look at it, don't push it deeper by denying it's not there, sis. There's some things y'all can probably look back on your life now and say, you know what? I was 32 when this happened. Now you 40. And it's like, yo, why is that still there? Because time didn't take that away. When it was sitting on the surface, your opportunity to deal with it, you didn't want to. You didn't want to feel it. You didn't want to deal with it. You wanted to just move on. You wanted to just date somebody else. You wanted that stuff don't go nowhere. It always going to rise to the top. You can be married to the man of your dreams, and that thing going to rise to the top. You can be in the position of your dreams. It's going to rise to the top. You can finally get the home of your dreams, drive the car of your dreams. But that deep emotional thing that you allowed yourself to push down is going to rise to the top at a certain place, at a certain time in your life, right? Because what's buried eventually going to grow roots. And once it grows roots, it's going to come right back. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? It came from you ignoring it, right? Sometimes you got to sit with pain. You got to sit with pain. Sorry, y'all. This is my healthy juice stuff I got. You got to sit with pain. You got to let the tears fall. right? You know them hot tears. You ever cry them hot tears that burn down, this feel like it's just hot running down the side of your face? Those hot tears, not because you're weak, because you're worth releasing what's been weighing you down. You're worth releasing what's been weighing you down. Don't think, oh, I'm supposed to be here. No, nobody. I don't care what mistake you made. Nobody's supposed to sit and grovel in the spaces, in the places of their life that they really want to get through. Nobody's supposed to just sit there, right? Because ultimately, I think what you need to know is that there's layers to healing. There's layers to healing. There's always many layers to healing. And some of you have said, I thought it was over. I thought I was through this. Well, welcome to this truth, sis. Healing is layered. Just because you dealt with that layer don't mean that this one is gone. It's listen, it's not a straight line. Healing ain't no straight line. Growing ain't no straight line. Getting better is not a straight line. Everything you do to improve yourself is never a straight line. It's some days you're gonna feel like a monster, like, yo, I'm on top, I got it. Right? Some days you're gonna feel like you're spiraling. Just yesterday, it was an old song. Just a week ago, you felt like you was on top. Yeah, I'm through it. I'm good. Then later that evening, you spiraling. You're not going crazy. It's part of the grieving process, the growing process of coming back from healing, so you can be the best you. Right? Some days you're gonna laugh. Other days you're gonna hear a song that take you down. Right? You're gonna smell a smell that take you down. It's part of the process, right? So when you go through those moments in your life, it's not regression. It's not regression. It's reflection. It's your ability to look at a thing. And sometimes that laugh is good. It's a good feeling, but it's not allowing you to look at a thing. So that laugh was necessary. Sometimes that laugh was necessary so that you can have the strength to look at this thing that you've been trying to ignore. So you know what's very important? Being patient, knowing there's layers. Being patient that, look, I slipped off this one, but there might be another one right there, right? Give yourself time. It's not a race. That's what I really want to drive to you today. It's not a race, right? The first layer in a lot of situations, the first layer is acceptance. Acceptance. The first layer is acceptance, sis. The second layer a lot of times is forgiveness. Forgiveness of somebody else. And you know the greatest forgiveness you can ever have is the one you give yourself, right? And the third is always letting go. That's sometimes the toughest one. How do I just let this thing go? That's the toughest one because a lot of you sisters want to control everything, right? And you still want to say, I need to squeeze the juice out of this. No, sometimes you need to let something go to get free. It ain't, sometimes it's not always about understanding every little part of it. Life brings you better understanding, right? And I feel like I'm talking to somebody here. You really need to know this because your desire to control the situation, you holding it and looking at it, observing it, microscoping this thing, you are leaving yourself stuck. Sometimes the best thing to do is walk away. And when y'all like, look, bro, but wait a minute, brother. Well, how I'm supposed to understand it? Let life. You might look up and it be 7 years later. You like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? Sometimes you revisit layers. You revisit layers over time, and you're in a better situation to look at it. You can't look at everything right now while you're in your healing process. It just don't work like that. You know, it doesn't work like that because growth comes from rising. Growth don't come from returning over and over and over again, right? It comes from rising. And when you rise, you get a better view of what's going on. Let me say this too. I think that you got to celebrate small victories. You got to celebrate small victories, even if it's a small one. It's progress, right? Because you're not looking for perfection. You're looking for progress. How can I make progress? Am I making progress in my life? Am I better than I was a few weeks ago? That's what you're looking for. Because that's the ultimate win right there. Did I grow? What am I looking for? Did I approach something differently than I would have? Right? Did I carry the same attitude that I would have before? Am I looking at this thing different? Celebrate those moments where you don't go off. Celebrate those moments where you're able to sit still and ponder something instead of snapping. Celebrate those moments where you held on to your smile and wouldn't let yourself go down with some nonsense. Celebrate those times where you didn't answer that phone or feel obligated to fix somebody else's problem. Celebrate that, right? You might not be where you want to be, sis. You might not. But guess what? You're not where you used to be. You're not where you used to be, and that's big. That's big, because some of you could look over your life and say, yo, I was stuck there for 20 years. I was stuck there for 15 years. I've been stuck there since my teenage years, and here you are dealing with it differently. Celebrate that, and don't let nobody act like it's small when you know it's big, right? You know, that one boundary you finally set, that one no you finally gave, celebrate that, right? That's a victory. When you say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this person harshly. And again, we're not talking about men. Sometimes it's families. Sometimes it's your parents. Sometimes it's your kids. Sometimes it's your ex. Whatever it is, whatever the situation is. Sometimes it's somebody on your job, your coworker, your boss, right? Sometimes it's just dealing with yourself better. Did you do it better this time? That's something to celebrate. Did I do it better this time? Because if you refuse to celebrate, you keep on seeing yourself as small. Every victory says, I got bigger, I got brighter, I got better. You got to celebrate that. And waiting for somebody else to do it. Listen, it's not that they don't see your goodness, but they focusing on their own life. They focusing on where they trying to go. They can't see every victory you had. So you got to celebrate it. It don't make them a bad person, right? Waiting on somebody else. Again, if that celebration don't come, then where you going to go? You got to celebrate you. You got to celebrate you, because you know why? Healing isn't always loud. Healing is subtle. It's quiet. It's internal. That's why you can't look for other people to see it all the time. People see that big leap, that bound. It's like losing weight. You know, you might lose 2 pounds and it don't look like it to nobody else, but you stood on the scale and knew it. It ain't until you lose that 10, 15, everybody like, oh, you look different. Same thing emotionally. It's subtle. It's quiet. But celebrate those small wins. Again, so you don't always keep seeing yourself as a loser or a person that keeps on returning to the same situations. You know what the enemy wants? The enemy of your life and the enemy of your success wants you to constantly look at who you're not. But I want you to look at who you are. I want you to view who you are, because if you start looking at who you are and what you've done, then guess what? You won't allow yourself to go in some of those holes you were in before. Right? So don't wait for perfection. Some of y'all are perfectionists and it's hurting you. Just celebrate your growth.